Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Debate Club. So, this is a platform where we engage in weekly debates and discussions based on various topics suggested by you guys, the participants. So, the topic for this week is veganism alone can never lead to a healthy lifestyle. So, before we begin the session, we need to define veganism. So, veganism is basically a lifestyle where people who are involved in this lifestyle avoid plant-based foods and heavily only rely on, uh, s- they only rely on plant-based foods and they avoid all animal product consumption. For example, fish, meat, dairy, and the like. Uh, Veganism does not just apply to the food choices, but it also applies to other aspects of the lifestyle. For example, they avoid recreational places like zoos, and they also advocate against keeping of exotic pets, and they also avoid the use and consumption of products that are based on animal cruelty. For example, leather bags that are made of real leather and not faux leather. So, with that context in place, the topic for today is veganism alone can never lead to a healthy lifestyle. So there are people against the statement and for the statement. People who are against it argue that plant-based diets are nutrient deficient and can lead to various health issues, and it is not a complete lifestyle. And they also argue about the food chain. Whereas on the other hand, people who are for the statement. Uh, so basically, people who believe that veganism leads to a complete good lifestyle, to a healthy lifestyle, they are of the belief that plant-based foods are nutrient rich and they also help in weight management and avoiding of chronic diseases. And they also bring in the question of ethics, where animal cruelty is not entertained. So we are looking at animal welfare as well as human welfare in one lifestyle. So, with that context in place, we will be starting the debate for today, and the people who wish to speak will have to raise their hands using the reaction button. Yes, please, Sandeep.
Hi. So I was speaking with Raghav on Wednesday, and he told that the topic should be controversial enough to be have uh, two opposition sides, and we'll have a productive discussion about or debate about it. So, so the title itself, the vegan lifestyle will never lead to the vegan diet will never lead to a healthy lifestyle. It could give two sides of it. If you when you read that title, there are two ways to think about it. The first thing would be like, okay, we have to consume some sort of animal products so that our diet will be fulfilled. That is one of the way to look at it. And another way to look at it is everything vegan is not good for you. That is how I look at it. Because if something is vegan, it doesn't mean it is good for you, because the pieces of plastic and pieces of metal is also vegan, right? So it doesn't mean that you eat it and it is not good for you. And I would like to go for a fundamental question. See, what our bodies are made up of what we eat, right? When we after a baby is born, for next 20 to 25 years, the physical and mental makeup of any human being is made essentially of what you eat. So your body is made of what you put in your what you eat every single day. And then we also have to ask the question first, is whenever the veganism debate comes into place, it's usually most of the perspective comes from the West, right? Vegan diet is expensive and all those things, because of the Western culture has grown from uh, they're going back to veganism. They started the popular the new age diet for them is usually the meat based, and the veganism started as like an alternative. But when it comes to Indian context, it is not a new thing. Veganism has been around there for a very long time, and most of the Indians regularly consume vegan food on their diet. And so the first thing you have to ask is, whenever the veganism debate comes to place, I would like to start from the veganism is, so there are two facets to it. What is the definition of veganism and what is the vegan diet? So veganism is not just about food. The veganism is about everything about animal products, even the leather, anything that comes from animals, they don't consume it. Even wearing leather watches, leather belts. A vegan diet is essentially whatever the product that comes from the animals, they don't consume it, right? So, and the arguments against the nutrition is very actually not related to veganism. It is actually related to the lifestyle. So human beings have separated themselves from the forests for a very long time. And if I can open the fact sheet here, so the argument against B12, right? The B12 is actually found in soil, and because of the processed food and processed very disinfecting the food that comes to our plates, B12 is lost in the process. And when it comes to omega 3 is actually found in water bodies in the form of algae. And when we drink water from natural sources, the algae is a part of it, and omega 3 is also fulfilled in your diet. And I'm not sure about iron and zinc. So it's essentially and again, another question we have to ask is, are we actually herbivorous or omnivorous or carnivorous? I would argue, if anybody thinks that they're carnivorous, I would ask the simple question: if you are carnivorous, just grab a hen or a goat and start eating it. So we use tools, we use technology, we use modern tools so that we dehydrate the meat and we make it palatable to our tongues. So without technology, you're not a carnivorous. And even for even if you look at the history, people, another argument that comes into place is meat is found in for more than 4 to 7 million years of evidence. Evidence is not no proof, right? Evidence is you have been consuming meat, and the meat, whenever the evidence of meat is there is also evidence of tools and fire. So without fire, human beings actually cannot cannot actually eat meat as a regular diet and survive on it. It actually leads to a lot of health issues. So primarily our anatomy itself, the legs, our teeth, our hands, our jaw, everything is herbivores. So if anybody wants to have a debate about carnivorism, I'll be happy to do it in the further sessions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandeep. Is there anybody who wants to speak next? Yes, Prince, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So first of all, great points. I would like to start by saying that yes, human beings have tried to disassociate themselves from the this whole general thing, but it's just a societal thing. We don't associate it with respect to our dietary preferences. Uh, it's not a new thing that I guess Sandeep was saying that veganism has been long a part of Indian culture. No, it has not. It has not been even a part of the human civilization itself. If we go back to the hunter-gatherer phase, even the gathering part came when the hunters were not able to hunt the animals, and most of the gathering was done for the 3 to 4 months of extreme rain that they had to face in those times. So, gathering or agriculture is just a way to kind of accumulate the grains and the food items so that they could survive when they are not hunting. Additionally, uh, veganism may or may not provide you enough nutrients, but a balanced diet is always needed. Human beings, fortunately or unfortunately, are the top of the food chain, and uh, if suddenly all of the humans decide that we are going to go vegan, then uh, the whole of food chain is going to collapse. If any uh, chain of the complete food chain decides to not perform their function, then we are not just hampering our species, we are hampering uh, uh, a bunch of species that are associated to this food chain because of us. Uh, Additionally, it's not good for humans themselves to completely shift to veganism. Although I agree that veganism could have a positive impact on this issue of climate change and global warming, but uh, at the same time, uh, to some extent, the animals need to be commodified, not in a capitalist manner, for the uh, human species to survive and you know uh, grow in its civilizational capacities. Yeah, Rush.
Great points, Prince. Thank you so much. Hari, please go ahead.
Okay. I hope you all can hear me well.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. So, so yes, good morning to one and all. Right. I would want to talk about like how whether veganism is only can lead to a healthy life or not. Absolutely not. Because mm, think like in this perspective. Let's say you go back to 100 or 200 years back and tell to your ancestors don't eat meat or don't eat only you can focus on vegetarian foods. They will laugh at you because during that time it is the only way to survive whatever the food that they can they are actually getting it out. That's how they uh, got it, and then they have lead their life. That's how it was. There was not a food chain well established during those times. It was, but currently we have a very good food chain system. Food chain means supply chain, like for food all over the world. So this is one of the times you have choices for food, but during those days, we never had a choice. We just whatever you are getting on that particular day, that's what you have to make it out, and you have to uh, you'll be eating or something like that. So I would say, in perspective of veganism, you will be you will be more focused towards not meat or animal products. You will be just a plant-based products only we are going to use. Those in that kind of perspective, I would. I am, however, you will not have much. Let's say, for example, you are eating a vegetarian food and a non-vegetarian food. You can feel it, right? Whenever you had a non-vegetarian food, even you skip the next meal, it will not affect you. Like when you are taking in vegetarian food, for a one let's say for breakfast, you will obviously you will be hungry during the lunchtime or like a 2 o'clock or something like that. You can see in that kind of view itself, you can see some kind of like uh, basic thing that you can understand that non-vegetarian foods are giving more energetic uh, things nutritions or something like that. They are forcefully giving. So it happens I would not say you have to go beyond only you can go with that. It is a personal preference basically, but I would say why at base level why we want to be a vegan. You would say uh, you would not harm animals, so these kind of things are coming into picture. But at current position we are basically we are having the systems we are actually making them reproduce more often than they naturally would, right? So I would, it is a personal preference that whoever want to take chance, but yeah, only veganism will not surely leads to a healthy life or something like that. So yeah, that's what I want to convey.
Thank you so much, Hari. And now let Sandeep go ahead.
Yeah, firstly, it is not a food chain, it's actually food web. And if someone is advocating for the food web, I would argue that if humans want to consume an animal, you should let an animal to consume human beings as well. Then only the food chain or food web is fully, justified in the, in the person's view who is trying to argue that it is a food chain. We are in a civilization and we have the power to choose it. And bringing natural way of life of animals into civilization is irrational. First, that is the second thing. And uh, the when it comes to farming, yes, the farming of plants is efficient the way we do it, and we are applying the same the farming practices that we invented to animals. I'm not a very big advocate of not harming animals. It's as I don't want to put it out there that anybody can do whatever they want, but again, it's up to the state and the laws that have been exist right now. If you want to eat anything, you can eat anything. I'm not saying that you should not. We have junk food. It should be called junk, not food, because if it is junk, it is not food, right? But we choose to call it junk food. So just like that, even meat, if you want to eat, you can eat it. There is no issue. Like, everybody has a choice to eat even a pieces of iron and aluminum. You can eat it, okay? It's fine. That's not an issue, because you've been eating it for a very long time. It doesn't mean it is good for you. There is no basis that what do you say, because we have been eating it for a long time, it's a part of the culture, or it is how it is. And someone brought up some kind of no, if you eat meat in the morning, you don't have to eat it until the evening. I hate to break it to you, it's actually a bad thing for you, because your colon is desiccating, because it is not able to process meat as fast as it should be. So that is why you're not feeling hungry. It is not a good thing, it's actually a bad thing. And yeah, so the fundamental question I would ask is, the first thing is, are we herbivorous or carnivorous? That's the first point we have to decide on. At least, let's say, largely herbivorous, let's say 99%, 90% of we are herbivorous, and there are like some maybe like 1 to 2% we were insectivorous. That means we used to eat insects. And actually, there is a new term called cookinovorous. Means you have to cook everything you eat, except for plants and fruits. We have come to a point where even we have to cook plants, otherwise our digestive system wouldn't agree. But if you practice long enough, you can adjust your digestive system for the plants as well. And again, I'm hate to break it to all the non-vegetarians who eat meat. I challenge you to eat raw meat. If you are a non-vegetarian, don't use tools, don't use technology, don't use your intelligence. If you are carnivorous, you eat meat or you drink blood. And you can ask any medical professional, if you drink a glass of blood of an animal, what happens. And animals are actually not good for you, apart from some ocean dwelling creatures. Because in our modern world, we use technology to separate the large intestines, small intestines, white meat, red meat. If you are really carnivorous, grab a hen, grab a goat, start eating it, right? So if you can't do it, you're not carnivorous. If you want to eat it, if you want to process it, if you want to cut it and you want to make it into bite-sized things, and I challenge you, if you think chicken is tasty, just eat it without any plant-based seasoning. Then you'll understand exactly what the taste of raw meat. What you're tasting is spices that are merged with fats of uh, the meat, which is drained of its moisture. So that is what you're tasting. You're not actually tasting meat. So that's how it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeep. Shravani, you can go ahead.
Hi everyone. Firstly, the topic being veganism alone can never lead to a healthy lifestyle. So I'm neither completely against veganism nor completely support it because each has its benefits and pros and cons. So firstly, if I whatever like Sandeep talked just now, if you want to you cannot eat raw meat. This you said you cannot drink blood, right? The same way we cannot directly pluck the vegetables or leafy vegetables or whatever it is directly from the soil these days, and we cannot eat it. We cannot eat raw rice, right? We have to cook everything. So see, I mean, if you like if you want to go in that direction, then it can be applied to everything. Because okay, you can eat salads, but can you eat salads every day, like raw vegetables every day? No, you cannot, right? Okay. uh, that's what I want to make the point there. uh, Later, coming to the, if you go completely, I will tell what is wrong with going completely vegan and what is wrong with completely like going like non-vegetarian. So firstly, veganism. So in veganism, if you adapt a veganism lifestyle, it is very good for cardio health, and it is really great for people over 30 to some extent. But again, B12 is not really available in any vegan meal. It has to be fortified with B12. B12 is very essential. It like controls most of the, it controls the nerves, it controls the it is very helpful for overall body healthy functioning. It is useful for RBCs, and there is a lot more. I can go on and on. B12 is very essential, I would say. But see, if someone is ready to take supplements and someone is ready to take fortified cereals and everything, they can go vegan. There's nothing wrong in it. And also, I would like to address this point. Many people who are adapting vegan lifestyles, they want a replacement for meat. So the replaced meat, we don't know where is it coming from. It has high amount of saturated fats. It's highly processed, basically. Whatever the vegan meat or whatever the vegan alternatives to the non-vegetarian they are providing, it's like filled with saturated fats, sodium, so many additives. It's highly processed. So whoever is following vegan lifestyle shouldn't look for alternatives in that case, because it's actually harming your health more than doing any good to your health. Looking for alternatives. I want to make that point very clear. And also, yeah. So coming to milk and all, I do not advocate animal milk. The reason being, earlier, every house used to have like couple of cows. Everybody used to have their own milk, used to draw their own milk from cows. So, but these days, everybody has different professions. So we are relying on some people for the milk. So what they are doing is they are injecting antibiotics to the animals. They are being even eggs also, the milk, and for large quantity of people, it's hard enough. So earlier it used to be the how much ever quantity that was enough for one household on itself. But these days, for the milk, even though it is for the cow, even though it is aging, for the milk to be enough for everyone. So they are giving so many antibiotics and so many other injections and stuff. So I'm not an advocate of animal milk either. Having said that, I'm not advocate of complete plant-based meals also. Like there are some milks which are great for you, like coconut milk, it's very good for you. But on the other hand, soybean milk, I'm not a great fan of it because soybean milk, first of all, soybean milk, people get it from the stores directly. Like stores being anything, like most things you buy from the store are again processed, again filled with additives. Like, how is that a healthier lifestyle then? If you are taking something, anything filled with additives or contains like added sugars, it's not good for your health. So so there are things like even you should avoid certain things, and I altogether for protein, people think like soy is like a really good alternative. Yeah, here I would like to debunk a thing. Like there are many non-GMO seeds being planted in our farms. Even the government is also aware of it. There are many illegal things happening. It says it is strictly against it, but it was vastly encouraged at a point to grow GMO soybeans. GMO is genetically modified soybeans. So the problem with genetically modified soybeans is it can create a lot of health hazards, like can create cancer. Firstly, it can disrupt your hormones. It can disrupt your entire genetic makeup. So the government says it stands against GMO and it supports non-GMO, but on the background, what is happening is GMO products are being are being sold, and GMO products are being encouraged, and it is being mixed with the seeds given to the farmers. So soybean is a largely susceptible to GMO related. That's my time up. I have got the time up thing. So
Yep, thank you, Shravani. Next up will be Purva.
Yeah, hi. Extremely well said, Shravani. So I agree with you. I feel veganism is a very privileged choice because, see, like if you choose to have coconut milk or soy milk or almond milk, so you have two options. Either you have to prepare it on your own or you have to buy it. When we buy it, it is a part of a processed food which is equally harmful. You don't know how long is the supply chain of that food, and processed food is equally harmful, so you cannot sell it on the health point of view. And if I say you prepare it on your own, so the amount of efforts it takes, it is for a normal person who has work and stuff, it is very difficult to maintain all of that. So I think it is very unsustainable, and the group the group of the part of the population which can adapt to veganism is very less. Like even if I say, okay, I want to become vegan, it is very tough for me because I don't have the time and I even don't want to have processed food. And I agree that you do not want to visit zoos, and you do not want to use animal products. I completely agree with that. Even non-vegans do that. That is a part of animal cruelty. It is not a part of veganism. And also, slamming people, I do not agree with you saying that you can drink directly, blood of the animal, or you can directly have the animal itself. So I feel it is more. And also the things where we say that the cows and or the buffaloes are being given antibiotics and everything, so that is not the flaw of people who are ready to consume milk. That is just animal cruelty, and it is just a commercial aspect to it. So that is it from my side.
Great argument, Purva. Thank you so much. I'll now let Ellen go ahead.
Yeah, thank you.
Ellen, you're
Am I,
on mute.
am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, thank you. I think I would start with Sandeep's point, because that's when I joined. that I think first we have to agree that humans evolved by eating meat, and it's not something new for us. So saying that eating meat is wrong is something I do not agree with, and that's been part and parcel of our existence. Now, the contention here is the real reason why veganism even came for rise is because how this meat is actually being sent to the end users, the customers, how customers are actually getting access to the meat, it's how it's processed, how animals are injected with chemicals to get them reach a certain age faster, their pregnancy faster, how the chickens are, manipulated, their bodies are changed to make them look bigger. I mean, I think pretty much everybody knows how prevalent it is and how the whole meat industry is not actually functioning for the health of the people, but more of like for the profits. And it's a very dangerous system because we can just assume from one restaurant per day there will be a certain amount of food, in fact a lot of food that's being wasted, and it could be a lot of meat that is wasted. And I'm speaking for one restaurant. If you take it globally, the amount of meat that is wasted and is being thrown out is equivalent to the amount of life that was killed and that for no use. We literally have thrown a life out of the window for our taste buds. Now, I agree with having your own farm, your own chickens, and your own goats, and if you want to consume them on a time, that I agree with because that is a aspect of health and the aspect that you're not participating in this chain of industry, which for me feels comfortable. I personally don't consume meat, but it's just my point of view. And so that is a point for stating, addressing what Sandeep was saying, that you can go and drink milk and drink the blood or eat the raw meat. I think we have evolved way past that. Eating raw meat and drinking blood might have been the days of our Neanderthals, and it definitely came with drawbacks. We have learned from the drawbacks. We have learned that cooking kills certain germs, and we have increased the life expectancy of humans as well as the time went. So that point is for that spectrum that was painted. Now, before also, I also wanted to distinguish between veganism and vegetarianism. Vegetarianism is where you are also okay in consuming milk and animal-based products, cheese, ghee, and veganism is where you completely abstain from it. So coming to the topic at hand, I don't think going vegan all the way is healthy because we have not evolved as humans for being able to sustain on such a lifestyle. It is possible to survive. I'm not saying it is not possible to survive. It's definitely their personal choices. If people want to do it, they can go ahead and do it. But the activities that you want to do, if you are involved, if you are interested in having more physical activities, and you also are interested in having more energy, I don't think I claim that vegans cannot have energy. That might not be how can I say, an empirical study that can be proven. But from my personal point of view, there's a lot of nutrition you can actually consume from getting your red meat or eggs. There's a vitamin called vitamin B12 where you don't get it anywhere else but the red meat and the non-veg side of it. So when we have a world that is supporting sports, you have athletics, and you have so many things going around, it's obvious that there's something that cannot be stopped because people do need those proteins. The proteins, there are supplements. You can have soya, or you can have your paneer, or you can have your tofu, chickpeas, peanut butter. There are a lot of spectrums, but that is definitely not enough to facilitate a lot of activities that people really want to do. And for those things, you definitely need that. And also, I agree with one point that was said that the meat cannot be consumed without the spices, which is very true. That is especially true. I might look. Okay, I think my time is up. I'll continue my point after I let others speak.
Thank you so much for the input, Ellen. Hari, you're up next.
Okay. Like I would like to add a point where like Sandeep has mentioned uh, whether you can eat raw meat or like drink blood or something like that. So basically that doesn't like makes any sense for me to to like follow the veganism or vegetarianism or something like that. So whether your body, what is the base point here is that what increases like the life expectancy is the one I think the most important, the like the core agenda. If you go layer by layer at the final level, what does these food culture or these things will lead to? How much life, like how much years you will be living in this planet, and how healthy you are. If you want to something, do some physical activities like athletics or something like that, which diet or food will help you the most to achieve your goals or something like that, right? So in that case, you can debate like which food, like whether a non-vegetarian food or a vegan in some in the sense like non animal products and animal based products. So you can, yeah, you can debate, but how um, you can tell like this you cannot, can you eat an unprocessed food, or like can you eat the raw material, raw food, like something like that. So yeah, you can come to a debate on which will make you to achieve your goal, or which will make your life expectancy more. That is the point I would like to mention over here. And also it is finally it is I would still say that it's a personal preference, like whatever, even you it is even if you don't like uh think about those kind of things like life expectancy, I want to live these many years, those kind of things, I want to eat some kind of, I'm daily eating some kind of vegetarian food and I would like to eat sometimes a non-vegetarian food for a taste or something like that, yeah, you can, surely you can go ahead. But in veganism, the one thing that is more offensive that I see is that they will come to some vegetarian or some kind of a non-vegetarian people, and they will point out that you are killing animals. You are the one who is the reason for these kind of things. You are like you came from hell, something like that. They will come from. They will make you feel that you are killing somebody or something like that. So that doesn't make any sense. This is the planet that we live in, and each and every like species has its own characteristics, right? So in that fashion, at the final thing, you can make choices, right, at the end, whether one thing that the one thing that I would like to mention is that it is solely a preference of a person or a species, that what it wants to do next. That's what I would like to like convey here. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Hari. Jacob, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I'm sorry for interrupting the usual flow of this debate, but it's my first time here. So could someone explain to me what the usual structure is? Are speakers allotted specific stances, or can I choose my own stance and run with it?
No, you're allowed to choose your own stance, and every time you get a chance to speak, you have 5 minutes to put your point forward.
Okay, okay. And I'll have multiple opportunities to speak, or only one?
Sorry?
Will I have multiple opportunities to speak, or will I only have
Oh, you will have multiple opportunities depending on how many times you raise your hands.
Okay, fine, fine. Okay, thank you. So that being said, I'll begin. I must admit that I thought I would be a passive observer today. I didn't think I would speak, since usually the debates I've been part of, you have allocated speakers. So this is a rushed, a very rushed speech that I prepared on the get-go. But that being said, the topic is veganism going to contribute to a healthy lifestyle, which means the opposite of veganism isn't non-vegetarianism. It's both vegetarianism and non-vegetarian, both in vegetarian and non-veg diet. So the only thing we have to prove here is that veganism is either A, not healthy, or A, it's not likely to be maintained as a healthy lifestyle. So everyone here has been focusing on the health benefits of veganism and health benefits of a non-veg or veg diet. And no one can argue that, because on both sides, you have certain health benefits that both contribute to. So then the question becomes, assuming that both are healthy, which one should I choose? And as an average person living an average life, having other responsibilities and things to take care of, I will most likely choose the option that is easier to maintain. So this brings into the question, which one is likely to be maintained by the average person in a population? So if you look at, for example, a vegetarian or a non-veg diet, there are multiple reasons why I would think it'll be easier to maintain this particular diet as opposed to veganism. Understand that a non-veg or veg diet has been around for centuries now, so it is well established, which means you have multiple options already existing on the different varieties of food that you can prepare, and people are already comfortable in eating these different varieties, and they're comfortable in cooking them by themselves or buying it in a retail store. They are very familiar with this brand of food, and it's a comfort food. And in a life that is very busy with other responsibilities, trying this new option of vegan food may be a bit difficult. But more importantly than that, if you look at the economics of it, a non-veg diet or a veg diet is simply less expensive than a vegan diet, simply because it has been around for so long. You have so many companies mass producing different products, different ingredients. Due to the law of supply and demand, there's always capitalism and competition going on, which means prices will always be less than a vegan diet, where only a few companies are manufacturing it, which means that the prices will most likely be higher than the prices of a non-veg or vegetarian diet. So for the common person, it is simply more affordable to go forward and opt in for a traditional diet. And thirdly, and most importantly, it is easily available. You don't have to tailor make your diet or find specific outlets that only serve vegan food. If you ever feel hungry, you can just simply step out and go to a KFC, or you can go to an Anand Bhavan and have a veg or non-veg food as per your liking. So for the average person, for the average Joe, it's just significantly easier to maintain a lifestyle that is veg or non-veg, while simultaneously reaping the health benefits that every speaker here has already spoken of, that a non-veg or veg diet contributes. And just to give one response to the previous speaker who spoke about how the main problem with the non-veg diet is that animals are constantly pumped in with chemicals, and those chemicals eventually reach our stomachs. The problem with that is that this problem exists on both sides. Vegan food isn't completely organic. Of course, you have a few outlets that do make organic vegan food, but they're very expensive, or they're quite rare. So it is quite easy for me to assume that even most vegan products are, since they are plant-based, they are grown out of farms that maybe use pesticides or other insecticides. They may have certain genetic modifications that may affect our hormonal balances or our everyday functionality. So it is hard to, give the argument that just because chemicals exist in chickens or pigs, we shouldn't have it, when the same chemicals, not the same chemicals, but a similar kind of chemical may also exist in plant-based food. There is nothing in this technologically advanced world that we have today that isn't born out of a certain mix of organic and non-organic elements. So with that, thank you.
Great points, Jacob. I personally enjoyed listening to your argument. So yeah, I mean, since you said it was your first time in our debate session, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing a lot more from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Prince, please go ahead.
Like always, great points, Jacob. Spoke a lot of points that I wanted to touch upon, but I would now shift to more nuanced and quote unquote fun topics. So, since this topic is about can veganism sustain a good and healthy human life, we need to ask the question that can it fulfill the nutrient requirements that a common, person has. I would agree that it can fulfill the nutritional requirements of someone of, let's say, 30 plus years of age, but can it fulfill the same requirements of a teenage who's, in its developmental phase? Sandeep said that if we have to go by the food chain, which I'll call that. We have to let others eat us as well. Yes, we do that. What did we do with the Neanderthals? Why were they extinct? Were they not killed by the Homo sapiens? As a civilization, we can choose to save people, but we have chosen to save us first. And it is not that if we go in the jungle without any protective gear, you are going to stay safe. The food chain is going to come into play. We are safe because we are in a protected zone. And if we can choose it, then why can't we choose to ignore what's happening to orangutan or kiwis? It's just because a single species out of the food chain destroys the whole web beneath. And yeah, he also said about we can't eat raw meat and drink blood. Uh, I'm shocked no one said it already. People eat raw meat. I eat raw salmon. I love my sushis. And people used to eat raw meat before, I won't say discovery of fire, before we discovered that we can cook food through fire. And uh, in the early days, even if, when we look at the cave paintings, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of cave paintings that shows the scenes of hunting and going into war. But I don't see a single cave painting of the hunter-gatherers going and gathering food, proving that the gathering was done as just a way to accumulate food for their quote unquote dry seasons. Now, drinking blood is actually not that unhealthy. It is unhealthy for people who are living in an urban space because our digestive system has evolved in such a way to make it more efficient, and drinking blood does not, you know, uh, fit into that greater scheme of things. There are still some African tribes who drink blood. There was a case in January 2008 where 3 fishermen survived for 11 days by drinking the blood and eating the meat of sharks that they caught in the sea. So it's not that drinking blood can directly kill you or something like that. Uh, and I guess someone already pointed out, but I'll just add to what they said, that people who follow veganism also comes with this ethical high ground that we commit animal cruelty, the people who are not vegan. Uh, Although I do agree that there is some form of animal cruelty related to how the non-veg food is processed in the current days, but it's not that only those animals are pumped with chemicals. We live in the age of green revolution. Keeping aside the insecticides and pesticides, which some may argue that are necessary, you should go and look how chemicals are used to make the fruits or the vegetables look bigger and more shiny. We have also seen instances of wax being used in apples to make it shiny. And it's not that it's only animal cruelty. I think if we are going to it through ethical means, then we have to realize that there are plant feelings as well. And it was recently proven that whenever we hurt plants or whenever we do damage to their environment, they do release some kind of stimuli that makes them feel sad. So it's not just about animals; plants have feelings too. So yeah, just to end, it is just a debate, and according to me, people can be anything they want. It's their life; they can eat whatever they are.
Thank you so much, Prince. Sandeep, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, see, again, I've already mentioned that you can eat whatever you want. I'm not advocating for a morality clause here. And see, as I said earlier, evidence is not proof. Yes, you can see the cave paintings that dated back to 4 to 7 million years ago. But again, what I'm trying to say is, you're trying to say is the hunting, the practice of hunting is associated with technology and fire. And I haven't brought up an actually excellent point that how intelligent you have to be to understand that you have to cook meat before you eat it. And I think Prince had made a point that one secluded tribe still drinks milk. It doesn't make any case, because whatever they're doing it for a very long time, it doesn't compare to rest of the human beings. 99% of the human beings don't drink blood. There is not a single culture, there is not a single country in the world which has the same food culture as to fruits. And which means that the way you consume fruits, you cannot do the same thing with meat. If you are carnivorous, if you are equally carnivorous, see, again, I want to make a point. You can eat whatever you want. I'm not advocating that you should eat it, you should not eat it. It's up to you. It's up to every person. If they have a freedom on this planet, as everybody has mentioned, you can eat anything you want. Okay, I'm not morally obligating anybody. I'm not supporting veganism. If you want me to put it out there, I'm not actually supporting veganism, the idealistic veganism that they portray, that the vegan meat, because the psychological effect of consuming meat by thinking that it is not come from a animal product itself is very deceptive to the cognition of human beings. So I'm not advocating for veganism at any point. The first thing what I'm trying to say is, are we anatomically herbivorous or carnivorous? Some people have made some points. Okay, we don't drink. He can eat raw meat, which is fish. I'm not considering fish as meat, because a lot of people consider seafood as seafood, not meat. So if the majority of the meat eaters nowadays is chicken, right? East or west, chicken should die. Everyone agrees that chicken should die. Okay, let's say it is a baseline. If you cannot eat a chicken as it is, and someone also had made up a point like you cannot eat rice. Yes, you cannot eat it. You're not made to eat rice. I'm not advocating that rice is we are anatomically evolved to eat rice, because it is a seed. What our biome is evolved to eat is fruits. Anything that comes out of a plant which is grown to make fruit, right? Plants make fruit for the animals to eat. It is a very purpose of the fruit, because you consume fruit, you consume the seeds, and then you spread the seeds for the future generations of the plant. That is how we are evolved on the from the forests. Okay, so we are a fruit species. I'm not even advocating for vegetables. Okay, because vegetables are also a kind of a fruit. And of course, our hundreds of years of selective farming has made fruits unrecognizable if you consider, if you compare them to the original the actual fruit that they have evolved from. Because bananas, you can take every single fruit that exists in modern world, it has no similarities to the naturally existing wild fruit. So we have evolved to do that selective breeding, so that we can meet the reduce the sizes of fruit, or even eliminate reduce the size of seed, or even eliminate the seed from the fruit. That is, of course, GMOs and everything. You can argue if GMOs are good for you. It's another debate for another day. So my point is, you are you carnivores? Because if you want to eat meat, you can eat meat. But if you're trying to justify that you're eating meat because you're a carnivore, you're lying to yourself. So what I'm trying to do here is, you establish a fact that human beings are herbivores, and we have evolved for last 4 million years, and our biome, that we hunt, we consume, we dehydrate meat and we consume it, we disinfect it. So we use our technology and brains to disinfect it. There is no fruit in the world that you have to disinfect. Okay, you can eat, you can pick a fruit. Let's say, so I'm not talking about modern cultivation of fruits. You can go to a forest, you can pick a fruit, you can eat. You're not going to die, or you're not going to get sick because of it. Of course, there are some fruits that you might die and you might get sick. I'm not talking about that special category of poisonous fruits. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sandeep. Ellen, you're up next.
Yeah, thank you for that. I would like to just address 2 points that were discussed with regards to A, chemicals being used to rear plant-based diet, and B, that even plants and vegetarian life has feelings. First is that yes, there definitely are chemicals being used for agriculture, and there are side effects to it. There's no denying that. So that's why I was stating that the optimum lifestyle would be to have something organic for both meat and vegetables, and basically your own garden in a sense. That is ideal. So for example, even if we get vegetables, we make sure to clean it and wash it in the right way, be it with salt or the other turmeric or whatever you have in hand. The fundamental issue with animal husbandry is that there is a level of sensitivity attached to it, mainly because the the feelings expressed by the animals is kind of evident, while you really had to use a lot of technology to sit and prove that plants also have feelings. I think this whole will be like a never-ending debate. Because essentially we started to look for feelings in plants only because when people started saying killing animals is cruel, that's when the other spectrum who wanted to defend their point, they had to go out of their way to prove with a lot of scientific experiments. So there is no moral high ground here. I'm against people who take moral high ground, and that is an issue with the vegan movement, where people try to establish themselves as more righteous because they are not involving themselves in this cycle of the processed food, be it or your milk products and everything. But there is a bit of hypocrisy also in that, because what you get at the end is actually processed. If you really have to consume something that is not going to any of these industries, then you need to have your own farm and garden. So that's pretty much my point. There is no denying that there are fertilizers used in both ends. Now, sticking to the topic that can veganism alone be healthy, and just following vegan diet can have like a good lifestyle. That is again just a personal choice. We can have scientific studies to show that consuming meat and other aspects provide health, but I think that's been discussed a lot of times. And also a point where what is easily accessible to me, and what could be an easy way I can go my day-to-day life to resume my activities, rather than worrying about a lot in trying to be right, do right, be morally or politically correct. Those are some stretches that individuals can take if they want to, and also if it is prescribed medically, and if we have real reasons, we definitely can. I have not tried being vegan alone, and I'm sure that people can sustain. What is more healthy? I think that point is also up to debate. It depends from individual to individual. So I think I don't think there's one clear demarcation that I personally believe anybody can give, saying no, this is completely wrong. You cannot follow this, or this is the only thing you need to keep doing. So unfortunately, I'm not able to take a stance here, not because that I have to prove. I don't want to sound offensive, but simply because that there is no right and wrong in this. But however, like I pointed out earlier, if somebody is taking their pitchforks to say that this is wrong, I think that's when the whole aspect of defense comes in to say that being vegetarian and non-vegetarian also is not wrong. That's all my point.
Thank you so much, Ellen. Hari, please go ahead. Hari, are you there? and I think he's not available at the moment. So I'll just let Sandeep go ahead.
Yeah. So I think Ellen has covered this about the contamination of vegan food. And if the vegan food is contaminated, of course it is contaminated. I'm not arguing that it is not. But if even if the meat, the animals that they feed the same contaminated plant food, so it's even a longer contamination than vegetarian food. I'm not justifying that you should eat vegetarian food. What I'm just trying to say is that the chain is just longer. And another thing brought up is I'm not sure where this is coming from. Vegan food is expensive than meat. This is such a westernized view, right? Because I've gone my entire life. You go to entire life that anywhere you go, if there is a vegetarian option and if there is a non-vegetarian option, it is always expensive. I'm not sure where that someone argued that vegan food is expensive. In the context of India, no, it is not. In the context of efficiency, it is not, because it is University of Oxford has already have given the data that an avocado imported from Brazil has less effect on the globe than a chicken which is grown in your backyard. So I'm not sure, and even actually it is even cheaper. So I'm not sure where where is this data is coming from that meat is less expensive than animal food. And of course, if you even consider only in the terms of financials when it comes to USA, because there is no such thing or meat is expensive. The meat is cheap, cheaper than vegetables in India. I don't think so. But if we take the context of the America, maybe it is. I'm not sure. I don't have data about how much a piece of fruit costs against a piece of burger. Maybe because of the economies of scale that they have for the meat industry, maybe it is cheaper or easier for them to access it. But again, the study found, the University of MIT has found that the financial cost of the humanity is much higher when it comes to meat production than what you say no plant production. So maybe at the end at the supermarket at some supermarket in America, maybe it is cheaper to buy meat than fruits. But overall the economy, it is actually you're paying more for meat financially than food, because it is heavily subsidized by the government. So as the oil industry, just like oil industry, the meat industry is also heavily subsidized with public money. So if you look in the bigger picture, yes, it is still expensive, but of course when it comes to individual, maybe it is cheaper. I'm not sure. And what else? So yes, again, see, the moral ground is, again, it's up to the individual to eat an animal or not. And someone made an argument that vegans are trying to hold a moral high ground. They can do it whatever they want, because you can hold the moral high ground saying that something that suits you. So everybody has a moral high ground up to their own arguments. And when the argument comes from the veganism that you're killing the animals if you're eating them, it is truth, and you don't have to get offended about it, because of course they are dying, right? If I'm eating I don't know, some leafy vegetable, I'm killing it and I'm eating it. I'm not sure, I don't know why you're taking offense for it. If they think that you have to take offense for it, then I'm not sure. The truth is truth. Okay, if you use your phone and there is a part of lithium that comes from somewhere that they have established child labor in it, yes, because I'm using a phone, I'm responsible for child labor. That is the truth. If you want to get offended for it or not, I'm not sure. And if you're eating meat, you are killing animals, and if I'm eating plant food, I'm killing plants. That's the truth. If you want to take offense to it, you can take it. If you don't, it's up to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeep. I think when somebody mentioned that vegan products, vegan diet choices are more expensive than other diet choices, I think they meant like for specific products because I think vegetables also find a way into the non-vegetarian diet, whether it be your condiments or your herbs that you use while cooking the meat. And vegetarians, of course, may rely on plant-based food in addition to dairy products. However, I believe vegans don't really go for animal-based dairy products. Instead, when it comes to dairy, they opt for plant-based dairy, may it be soy milk, almond milk. And personally, from my observation, these in India as well are comparatively more expensive than dairy products that are animal-based. For example, cow milk or buffalo milk or something like that, goat milk, whatever it is. Simply because these animal-based dairy products are more common and hence less expensive. So I think they meant that because personally I've observed that, right? So yeah, for me personally, it is, I think, of course, like everybody agrees, I believe, that to go vegan or to not go vegan is a choice. But for me, diet-wise, I'm not on the side of veganism being the ideal lifestyle contributor. But on the other hand, I also agree with some things how they condemn animal cruelty in terms of using animals as a form of recreation or uh, simply killing animals for making of fashion products. For example, we've seen the leather industry, the fur industry. So I think that's my personal stance on that. So yes, thank you, Sandeep. Hari, are you ready to speak? All right, I don't think
I
he.
think Hari's on mute. Maybe you can ask him to.
Okay, Hari, is that the case? If you're speaking, you're on mute. I'm not sure if he's here. We'll just go ahead. Jacob, you can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll spend the bulk of this particular speech addressing the arguments that Sandeep made, particularly that a vegan diet is less expensive. So firstly, when I made that point, unfortunately, I wasn't armed with the different research papers from Oxford and MIT that Sandeep has. But I do want to make a point that a paper based on statistics, it looks very lucrative and very alluring on the outside when we say that we have a significant result. But unless we've really researched deep into that particular paper, we have to understand what kind of sample that those researchers really took. Was it really representative of the entire world? Was it really a representation of all the different classes of economy, the middle class, the lower class, the upper middle class? Did they really take into consideration all these people with all the different financial burdens and constraints? Because I feel that sometimes statistics can lie and numbers can lie. And in this particular situation, I chose not to use papers and research papers for that precise reason. And I tried to give my point based on first principles. And the first principle and the main point of contention here is which is more expensive. And the point that I made was if you look at it through a simple lens of economics, companies that have produced ingredients and food-based products for both a non-veg and veg diet has been around for centuries, which means there's a large number of them already existing within the market. So hence they cannot raise their prices because then an alternate competitor would decrease the prices, and us average day people who obviously have other budgetary constraints, we would hop onto the train and buy the product that is less expensive. However, in the vegan example, this isn't the case simply due to the smaller sample size. Since we want to talk about, a statistical paper, vegan companies are just simply fewer in number, and hence they have far more authority and agency to raise their prices depending on the market needs and market flow. So, as a common person, we have less options and we have less power to decide which ingredient or which diet to choose. But in the case of a non-veg diet or a veg diet, in case the price of chicken increases tomorrow, for one particular brand, I can always look at another particular brand that may, lessen their prices to boost their profit. So so as a consumer, I always have far more options if I've taken a non-veg or veg diet as opposed to a vegan diet. Maybe in the next 100 years, when there's more, capitalism, there's more vegan companies, and there's more vegan products in general, maybe we can revisit this debate then, and maybe then I would agree that a vegan diet might be better. But for the time being, since we've both agreed that both types of diets have health benefits, the only way I decide which side to choose is based on which is easier to maintain in the long run. And if I have a plate of non-veg, veg, and vegan food, all three are beneficial, all three are nutritional. But the veg food and the non-veg food will come in the next day as well. I can easily get the same veg plate of food, non-veg plate of food the next day and the days to come. But the vegan food might be a bit more difficult to attain. And hence, in the long run, as a person with already existing problems that already require a lot of thought process and a lot of my time to address, I don't want to spend so much time deciding on what food I want to eat. I just want my plate of chicken. Thank you.
Great points, Jacob. Thank you so much. Is there anybody who wants to speak next? If yes, please use the reaction button to raise your hands. Yes, please, Sandeep.
I still don't understand what is Mr. Jacob is saying, because is it really hard for you to buy vegetables in India? I'm not sure, because I don't really understand how is it. Yes, you have choices, and the argument that vegans have less choices than meat eaters, I'm not really sure, because if I'm not sure where you're from, but if I take the example of Bangalore, you will find it hard to find a non-vegetarian restaurant than a vegetarian restaurant, and it actually is quite hard to find a meat outlet than a vegetable outlet, because wherever you go, I can see like vegetables, 90% of the vegetables, and like 5 to 10% of fish. That is only on certain days. The same market you go, and even if you go to like bigger chains, supermarkets, there is only a little section which is dedicated to frozen food items, which is the opposite. I've lived in London for a while, and then you go there, about 80-90% of the food section is dedicated to frozen meat, and only 10 to 15% is dedicated to fruits and vegetables. So yes, of course, the Western European cultures have evolved to current situation where they eat a lot of meat, they consume a lot of meat in their diet. Maybe it's different in different places of in India, but as far as my experience is concerned, especially in the southern part, I don't. Of course, the meat culture has been increasing a lot, because if I compare to 10 years ago, if I have to take the number of outlets in my own city or town, the choices of getting meat options, entirely meat restaurants, was not actually a common thing long ago, and maybe that is the case because of uh, there is no supply chain, or maybe I don't know. But as a cultural aspect, I don't really understand how vegan choices are limited when compared to meat choices. It is actually other way around here, because I had to struggle a lot. If I lived in UK, it's a kind of a Mammothean task to find vegetables, fruits, and cook your own food if you don't want to consume processed meat and all. So that is what my experience is. Yes, of course, when it comes to economies of scale, anything gets cheaper. But again, you have to ask the question, what is the overall cost of it? As I mentioned earlier, of course, Mr. Jacob has made all the points beautifully. There is no disagreeing with it, except for the fact that the only thing that I'm not able to wrap my head around is vegans have less choices than meat eaters, which is, I'm not really sure if it is how it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeep. Jacob, do you think you can answer that real quick?
I just have a simple response, which is I think Mr. Sandeep is under the misconception that the opposite of vegan food is non-vegetarian food. It's not. The opposite of vegan food is an omnivorous diet where you have plant-based food and meat-based food. So everything he said actually works in my case. Yes, there are more vegetarian outlets in India, definitely, but that isn't a vegan outlet, that's a vegetarian outlet. And similarly, obviously, you have multiple joints of meat-based outlets as well. So a person who doesn't follow vegan diet can ascribe to either an Anand Bhavan or a KFC. They have the choice. But if you want to take a strictly vegan diet, then you can take neither. You have to go to specific outlets that only cater to a vegan diet. That is why I said that your options become limited. And this becomes even more important in a developing country like India, where people live 9 to 5 jobs, they have their own difficulties. They simply don't have the time or the effort to spend, to devote mental resources to make this choice on a daily basis. They are far more comfortable in continuing in what is already their comfort food, which is either a veg diet or a non-veg diet or a combination of both. We don't need veganism right now because a non-veg diet and a veg diet, they take care of our nutritional benefits already, and that many speakers have already, proved that. So at this point, it just becomes, as I mentioned many times before, which is easier to manage in the long run. And I think my point still stands on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob. Ellen, you can go ahead, please.
Yeah, I think I understood where the fundamental confusion is. First, separating vegan food and then clubbing vegetarian and non-vegetarian together as the other spectrum is not actually the right distinction. So vegan food, So I think what Jacob is trying to portray is that vegan outlets. So here we are not talking about vegan outlets and the other outlets. So vegan, what does vegan actually mean? Vegan means any food that does not involve animals, and that could be your milk-based products and your dairy-based products also clubbed together on that. Now, on a day-to-day basis, when people are trying to consume vegan food, if we just even Google what vegan food is, it has your fruits, nuts, berries, plants, and vegetables. So that in spectrum is vegan food. I think that is a spectrum of understanding of something. And that's where he's coming from, that, vegan food is actually prevalently available. Now, how we cook it, beyond that, how we process that, in the chain of processing, we might actually involve products that are that could be from animals if you're using ghee or if you're using butter or cheese. And there are people who even avoid that. You can actually obtain oils that are purely from your coconuts or other nuts, so peanuts and groundnuts. So I think that is where the confusion is, and that is why Sandeep is also not able to understand how non-vegetarian food is less cheaper when compared to vegan food. If I uh, stick to vegan outlets, there is a marketing gimmick if you want to name an outlet as a vegan. And I don't think everybody who is wanting to consume vegan food is actually going out hunting for vegan outlets. They make it at their home. You get the vegetables and you get the right products you want. You don't use your ghee, you instead use oils coming from these sources I listed. That, in essence, is vegan food. That's all there is to it. So, if going by the definition of what vegan is, rather than trying to stick to the marketing aspect of vegan, where you're hunting for vegan outlets, I think vegan food is actually cheaper. If I understanding what the definition is, it's very evident. Meat-based food, meat is actually costlier compared to vegetables and fruits. That I think we can agree on. So I think that is why Sandeep was saying that, I walked down and I find vegetables, while Jacob is trying to point that, the outlets, the labels of vegan is very hard to obtain. So yeah, that's my point.
Thank you so much, Ellen. I see Shravani. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I totally and completely agree with Ellen on this point. Vegan food can be categorized. So I would say people would like to have chicken or eggs compared to a handful of nuts. It's all about we're talking about healthier lifestyle here, right? So it's all about what you want to choose, what is better for your overall health here. So be it vegan or overall, be it vegan, vegetarian, or non-vegetarian, it's ideal to have an understanding of how they are processed, what is being done to them in the background. And Ellen also mentioned that organic is the best way to get these things. I mean, when coming to lifestyle, I personally feel like it's we shouldn't hesitate to put some money into it because it will affect our overall health, right? So yeah, that's what it's all so a diet should be a balance of both. So including more vegetables and fruits is very much important. I think what Sandeep mentioned also was he was intending to mention that vegetables and fruits are more easily available. He's probably okay, that is, and he's taking that vegetarian thing, but here we didn't talk about the milk part. Of course, the vegan milk is costlier than the normal milk, and I wouldn't advocate the normal milk as well. But if you want to, like, most of the vegan diet is like filled with vegetables and fruit. So organic and having a balanced diet is what I suggest overall.
Thank you so much, Ravni. I see Hari. Are you there, Hari?
Yes, yes.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. As I would conclude, basically, veganism is not only the way you can lead a healthy lifestyle. So you can consume like as much as you can. This is as a overall planet. So you can the things that you see which are edible things, which are non-harmful, you can you can think about their good aspects and you can have an overall view on it. But the one thing that I would mention is for each and every time, don't be so conscious towards your food or like whatever your intake. If you are too conscious about it, you are leaving behind something else. Like you are not conscious about whatever your goals that you want to achieve. Let's say, for example, your goal is the only thing to achieve something in athletics, then you must keep that one as a primary thing rather than your diet to making it as a number one. So that's how I see it. Yeah, that's how I conclude.
Thank you so much, Hari. I see Sandeep. So I guess you guys can start concluding your arguments and then we can move into the unmoderated session. That will be a discussion instead of a debate. Yes, Sandeep, I guess you can go ahead.
Okay. So I would tilt towards veganism alone can actually lead to a healthy lifestyle. It doesn't mean that everything vegan is good for you. You can see if you can consume coconut oil and it has the same effect as much as if you eat red meat. And I think Mr. Jacob was saying that, yeah, I think I might have considered vegetarian restaurants as vegan. I'm sorry for that, for the confusion. I wasn't paying attention to the vegetarianism. I had it in my brain that I divided the vegetarianism and the meat instead of veganism. So what I'm trying to say is, of course, you have, if let's say if I don't want to put it as a veganism, if I have to put it as vegetarianism, as Mr. Ellen also has pointed out, of course you have more vegetarian options. And yes, it is harder to find specific vegan labeled restaurants anywhere, but I think it fundamentally there are a lot of cuisine in Indian culture which is inherently vegan, but they are also clubbed with vegetarianism, especially milk, right? If you take out milk, the equation becomes simple. Of course, I cannot just say you include meat and include milk and everything is fine. What I'm trying to say is, if you consider vegetarianism, of course you have like n number of options. And when it comes to KFC, I think he kept bringing up ease of access to food, and he keeps bringing up KFC, right? And the first thing I would like to bring up is, I don't think it is a healthy food. I may be wrong, but yes, if you want to eat something and at your own convenience, there is a lot of things, like you can eat packet of chips. There is a lot of things that you can eat. If you want convenience, there is a lot of things that you can eat, which are not necessarily food, right? It could be good for you, bad for you. It is debatable. And but the general perspective, if I have to put it in a black and white perspective, the majority of the meat comes from poultry and meat, pigs, right? Poultry, pigs, cow, buffaloes, and goats, right? These are four major meat industries, and of course seafood. If I don't consider seafood as a part of the debate, if I just differentiate between these four animals and what you say, plants, right? So you can actually better off without these four animals, and it is not good for you. I'd like to go or argue for an extent that, of course, chicken, meat, whatever the land based animals you are eating, they are not good for you. And second thing, 75% of the animals on the planet are herbivores, including human beings. And we have technology to right now to invent a car, right? We have technology to build rockets and we go to Mars or moon. It doesn't mean that they are naturally existent, right? We are using our brains and technology to design some things that suit us in a different in a lot of ways. Even fruits and vegetables are selective breeded for a very long time. But my question is, you can eat anything you want, but I'm not trying to say that you should not, which is healthy or unhealthy. It's up to you to decide if it is healthy for you or not healthy for you. But I would like to go to an extent, say that veganism can lead to a healthy lifestyle. It doesn't mean that it doesn't, because you can eliminate every animal product on the planet from your diet, but still you can find a way to be healthy with veganism alone. Okay, that's a topic, and you can do it. If you are able to do it or not, that's a different thing. You have to go to a certain extent depending on where you live, what is access to you, and how the economics is working, how the globe has evolved to a certain point right now is difficult, right? But how you make your choices, if you want to live with the choices, you want to eat meat and you want to live with the choices, fine, that's fine, it's up to you. But you have to acknowledge the fact that human beings are herbivores. You want to eat meat, you can eat meat. You can eat junk food. We are not anatomically designed to eat junk food. We eat a lot of things every day. We breathe a lot of air every day, which we are not good for us, but we do it anyway, right? But the fact remains, electric cars are less pollutant than normal cars, right? Cars. So you can argue and say, okay, I don't care, because the petrol cars are cheaper to run than electric cars. To buy electric cars are less expensive. You can make an argument like that. But the point is, overall, what is the fundamentals? He was saying, I will go to the first principles and say that of course the statistics and data points are depending on what are the data they collected, and I'm not sure what are the first principles that you are bringing into the fact that KFC is much easier to access, so you can do it. It is not first principles, it is just convenience. Maybe I have missed the point that you made with the first principles. Maybe you can bring it up again. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Sandeep. We will now be moving into the unmoderated session. That will be a discussion session instead of a debate. So, general rules for the session will be that participants are no longer required to raise their hands. You guys can simply speak up, but please make sure to keep the environment respectful and do not cut each other off. So, yes, if anybody wants to speak, please go ahead.
Can I just start on this section? I will just start off by saying that euphemistically, the debate was a bit hijacked into different topics. But just coming back to the basic of saying the topic that veganism alone can never sustain a healthy lifestyle. there are two aspects there's one aspect of this which unfortunately we never discussed, is what constitutes to a healthy lifestyle. And that is the reason why I think I am not able to take a stance, because the unless we can define what is a healthy lifestyle, what significantly means healthy lifestyle, we can never discuss if veganism alone is enough for that or not. So that is why I was saying that is up to the individual, because everybody's profession and their needs changes. Everybody's lifestyle is different, and according to their needs, they have a different consumption of food. And in that aspect, what actually means healthy is, if I can say that where the highest probability lies for me to lead a disease-free lifestyle, how can I achieve that? If we can define that as a healthy lifestyle, if I see aspects of that, then we might actually have some pointers. I do not have a specific pointer, because that is initially I used to think that meat and the way it is being processed actually has a higher risks of cardiac arrests too. I think there is a bit of truth in that. We cannot deny that. And also cancer-inducing elements, etc., etc. But when I did search more on this topic, there are certain articles that recent years, initially if I went back 10 years, I found a lot of articles saying yes. But now I see a balance where people say there is no scientific study that can say that having a non-meat based diet actually reduces my risk of health risks. So I just wanted to open this segment of the topic, because I think this is where the fundamental pivot is, and which is why I think a stance cannot be taken unless we define what healthy lifestyle would be.
So actually, so the meat we consume in the modern world is heavily dehydrated, right? And when you consume it, it dehydrates your body. So your body is working more to hydrate it again and then digest it. So even at that point of where, okay, if there is an argument to per se that animal food, animal meat from the main sources like chicken, beef or pig or the meat, it is dehydrating your body. So when it is a common practice whenever you're sick, doctors would suggest not to consume meat. And maybe I'm not a doctor, but that is my understanding, that it is not good for you. But if it is not good for you when you're sick, why it is good for you when you're not sick? So it's counterintuitive, right? Maybe I'm wrong. If someone is the physician experience or expertise, they can shed a light on it. And yes, veganism alone can actually lead to a healthy lifestyle, but again there are conditions applied, right? What kind of environment you live in. If you consider like, okay, on a base level, that everything else around you is like, okay, little pollution, and let's say idealistic situation where you are living, there you can of course, as Mr. Jacob has pointed out, you can bring in data from a lot of points, and then you can make up a research outcome that, okay, certain eating chicken is good for you, right? You can make up, you can get a research oriented result that, okay, it is good for you. But again, it is a limited set of data point. But the fact that we are doing that research that, okay, animal food is not good for you, maybe you can do the same argument, okay, just alone being plant based food itself is not good for you. The data is like, if human body needs certain nutrition, the fundamental question is it available not from animal products? Yes, it is available. So the point is, why do we have to resort to animal products? No, apart from the arguments that it is accessible, and the modern supply chain, everything, ignoring all of them. Coming to the fundamentals, if every nutrition value that we can get from the nature, which doesn't have to come from animals, it can lead to healthy lifestyle, right? So yes, of course, veganism can lead to healthy lifestyle, but there are a lot of other circumstances that come into civilization to play, that it is a part of it. But even if you're living in a civilization, can you make a choice not to eat meat? Yes, you can make a choice not to eat meat. You want to eat meat, you are eating meat. If it is of your convenience, I'm not sure. Everybody's have a different lifestyle. Everybody live in a different place, different situations, depending on that. If you put me in a place that I cannot get chicken apart from, if you put me in a place where I cannot eat anything else chicken for next 1 week, I will eat it, right? You have to eat it, otherwise you will die. So my point is, it can lead to a healthy lifestyle. How you do it, how we do it, how we figure it out, and is up to us. And the whenever this argument comes from nutrition deficiencies, it is because of the lifestyle, not because of the vegan diet. Yeah. Anyone wants to counter, they can.
Yes, I would. So, as in the vegan, in the veganism or a vegan diet, so how can you think like you will get all the necessary nutrients and proteins that like in a vegetarian or non-vegetarian diets? In a non-vegetarian diet, you always get a high fatty acids and highly valuable proteins and nutrients you will get as compared to as in a veganism. See, you can in veganism, I found mostly that vitamin and nutrient deficiency is coming in through veganism. Like let's say for example, calcium is less. You will be consuming less calcium in a vegan diet than a non-vegetarian or a vegetarian diet. Let's say for example, you are not even having
So
an egg
let me
or
ask you,
milk.
where do you
Yeah,
get calcium on a non-vegan diet?
Guys, please avoid interrupting each other. Only start speaking
I
when the
thought we
previous
are
speaker.
on unmoderated session, right?
Yes, we are, but you're still not allowed to cut people off.
okay, just
If
I will
you're
complete my points and okay,
okay.
you can counter that. Okay, so you are not even having egg, milk, or a very basic thing that a child would need. So let's say, for example, Africa, right? What is the basic thing World Health Organization suggests to like those children to get enough nutrients? They straightforwardly go on. They are not telling eat plants or eat vegetarian or vegan food. They are straight away telling you go and just have a milk or egg at least once in a day so that you will get enough nutrients than any other food that even exists. Okay, in order to get good energy and in order to develop your like your mental or physical health or together, so you would need such proteins and vitamins to your health so that you can if you are not having a good lifestyle before, you will be leading from that point. So as in a vegan diet, I would say like you will be you will be consuming less nutrient and less vitamin compared to a vegetarian or non-vegetarian. Yeah, you can counter this one, but I would say the basic necessities you are not consuming them. So that's what I would tell. Yeah.
Human beings are capable of absorbing milk nutrients only up to the age of 3 to 5. If you're drinking milk after the age of 5, theoretically, you're not meant to drink milk. First thing, if you want to drink milk, you drink milk from infant, right? They are anatomically, biologically evolved to drink mother's milk, not from another animal. First point. Second point, if the calcium that you're getting from milk, assuming that you are getting calcium from milk, the cow is getting that same calcium from the plants, and you can biologically eat plant leafy vegetables, and you can get the same amount or even more of calcium. It is wrong that if you're thinking that if you want to get calcium from milk or eggs only, that is the only source that you can get, or like concentrated ones, it is not true. And second thing, WHO can prescribe to drink milk or eggs. It doesn't mean that you have to do it only the way they tell you to do it, right? They're prescribing it because that could give you enough calcium for the day. But you can also get the same calcium from the leafy vegetables. I can also say make the argument that why WHO is not prescribing certain leafy vegetables that you have to eat every single day. I'm not sure why they are doing it, and I'm not here to say that WHO credibility is stained or something, but there is always kind of an agenda for something to do it. What I'm trying to say is it is not false that you can probably get calcium from milk and eggs. Yes, you can get it, but you can also get it from the plant food, right? And the myth that it has concentrated calcium or not, concentrated calcium and you can get enough calcium, it is a myth. It is not a fact. You can get the same amount your body requires from plants as well.
Okay.
You can interrupt me. I have no issue. You can talk between
Yes,
if I'm talking also, no issue.
yeah. So like as you said, like there might be an agenda or something like that. Yeah, there might be. Okay. But what I would mean is that you don't even have a proper like a supply chain, or you are not wealthy enough to follow such kind of diet. Okay. Let's say for example, if you want, let's for example, you are a person or some person living in Africa. Okay, Africa or some kind of a medium per capita country, something like that. Okay. So in that kind of scenario, you will not arguing I want to go with this like this diet or that diet. I need essential thing in a cheaper way, or cheaper way in the sense that can be like I can have uh like a status, like some kind of thing, so that I could buy that regularly and I can consume that kind of food. Okay. I would in veganism, which I see one drawback currently is that it is I want to like it is not immediately accessible in that sense, one. And the other thing is that um I would say it is um not as comparatively like a vegetarian food. It is like easily accessible, like let's say for example that as I mentioned, like milk or eggs are they are readily available in everywhere, right? So like even vegetables and everything was available. But the one thing I I cannot buy like a multiple like vegetables and things, and I want to cook. There are things that I want only one thing that immediately I can cook and I can serve my children or some kind of people, right? So in that case, I have a limited amount of money that I want to serve my family or something like that. In that scenario, I would not come and argue that I want to follow this veganism or a non-vegetarian or something like that. I just want to feed something to my family with whatever budget I have. So in that scenario, you will you you can't primarily think that like I can only serve like vegan food, because in vegan foods, like vegan food in the sense non-meat food, like you will be having you want to take uh, larger chunk of food to gain the same nutrients as what a milk or a egg does. So yeah, you can counter me in this one. So that's what my point is about. Like with yeah, as you said, like a concentrated nutrients or something like that, you can achieve it in cheaper way in a vegetarian diet rather than like in a vegan. You want to take a larger chunk of like a food or something like that. So yeah.
See, coming to the basic efficiency, a cow eats plants and then it gives milk and then you're drinking it. So with the perspective of basic efficiency, you can use the same land to grow vegetables which give you calcium. And it's not true, again I'm telling you, you don't have to eat large amounts of plant food to suffice your calcium needs. And the secondary thing, you keep saying that you have to eat meat for a balanced diet. And I'll give you two cases. It is 100% possible to eat only plant-based food and get 100% nutrition supply you want. You can get it, but you cannot do the same thing when it comes to meat. If you eat just meat, you cannot do that. So yes, there could be some see, there is truth and there is reality. The truth is you can eat vegetarian food, vegan food, plant food. Let's say I'm so confused with this terminology nowadays. Let's say plant food. So if there is possibility that you can eat plant food and get all of the nutrition values you want. You can get. And I'm not sure what is the point of being in Africa is a poor country. If it is a poor country, isn't it obvious that it is easier to grow plants than maintaining a supply chain of, if let's say, I mean, of course, what I'm trying to say is not practical. What I'm trying to just give a context to your argument that it is cheaper to get, yes, of course, if someone has a backyard and they just leave some chickens out there and they're growing, right? They're giving eggs every day. Then they're not doing anything. Yes, you can do that. You can eat it. And milk, like a lot of Indian households used to have a cow at home, and it used to give milk every day, and they used to, it feeds on grass that comes from the it's a part of the it's a part of the so community and the civilization that we live in. So we use the chicken and even pigs, like even goats. They're part of the domesticated animals, right? When they're part of the domesticated animals, we started consuming their milk, their products, and then their even their flesh. But it has become a part of the lifestyle. So yes, of course, it is efficient in a way that it is a part of a lifestyle. It is a circular lifestyle that they have. But the point you're trying to say is like, it is cheaper only to eat meat, but not the other way around. It is true in some of the cases, not every case. And I'm not as I think I've already said, I'm not advocating veganism in any way, because it has a lot of loopholes in its own way. And but whenever the point comes out, like, okay, see, I know where is this extremism coming from, because the veganism itself is so extreme. The other side is going extreme and say that, okay, it is already, they're making valid points, but again, it comes down to a point where they bring up other thing. Even if it is efficient to consume meat at certain point in your at certain societies, they bring up a morality clause in there. Okay, so I'm not trying to give you that you should abandon eating meat or eggs or milk. What I'm trying to say is it a part of your culture? Okay, if you don't have a backyard to grow chickens, why are you eating it? That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, what I meant in my previous statement is that if your environment doesn't support, let's say, for example, why I took the Africa is that, think like this a desert country, okay, you don't have enough development or infrastructure to grow such plants or things like that. In those kind of situations, you don't have access to
So I have to
veganism.
cut it again. I already said the efficiency of supply chain. You are already growing food for the meat. If you're growing 100 acres of food for to feed your meat, you only need to grow 50 to 60 acres of the vegetable food to feed the same people. So your argument falls there, because the energy needed to grow plant food is much lesser than the energy needed to grow animal based food, because animals also have to eat plant food, right? Chickens, goat, pig, and cows, they have to eat plant food. They have to grow plant food. So it is like taking yeah, taking petrol and then put it somewhere else, and then you process it and then you put it in your car. No, you can directly put it in your car, right? Why do you have to put it somewhere? It is from A to B. You can directly consume that nutrients from point A to point B, but you're stopping you're taking a diversion, you're putting it through an animal and then you're consuming it.
Okay, no, yeah, yeah, your point might be right, but what I will
It's
tell
not
is,
might be right. That is how it is.
yeah, no, oh, no, just I will finish my point. Okay, so they are
Okay.
giving some product, right? You see, when a cow eats like a grass or a plant, it gives them milk and it's like a flesh or something like that. Okay, it has some kind of a product, a byproduct, and also like a meat also. Okay, in these two scenarios, you you are getting two various products. It gives what it intakes, right? So it is not equally proportional, but
No, that
it,
is not how efficiency works.
yeah,
There is a loss of
yeah,
efficiency whenever the food goes through something. You don't get 100% of the nutrition. See, if you're getting concentrated nutrition from animals, it is eating 10 people. I'm just giving it is not accurate. I'm just giving you a context. It is eating enough food that 10 people can eat, and it is giving food for one person.
but whatever the cows intake, that can't be intake by humans, right? Then what is the purpose of like if it can eat 10 person's food, then it can't, right? Even if it left it out, nobody going to consume it, right?
I'm sorry, can you repeat it again?
No, a cow is going to have, let's say for example, it's going to have hay. Okay, you heard about hay, right?
Heard about what?
Hay, like
Grass, okay.
yeah, okay, yeah. No human will go and consume that. Then what in the sense like whether
No, the
uh,
point is, I'm not saying that you should eat grass. My point
yeah,
is, the land used for to grow grass can be used to grow vegetables for you.
um, but that you can't grow everywhere, right? In my point, you can't grow vegetables whatever places that grass grows, right?
Why not?
So that
If,
kind of
if grass is growing, you
like
can grow vegetables. What's problem with that?
no, you can grow in your backyard or in your own land. You can make it out. Okay, you can't grow it everywhere, or else like let's say for example, even if you are doing in that way, you need some manpower to like or an infra to like export it or sell it to somebody else or something like that. It is coming under some kind of business or socialization, right? So
See, I'm not sure you're taking it out of the context. If you're talking about economy is a different thing. If you want
no,
to see, you can say Mahindra cannot make electric cars because they are inefficient about it, but Tesla can make it because an industry is inefficient. You cannot justify it the way they are doing it because you're not qualified enough or not trained enough to grow vegetables efficiently. It's not a justification to for eating for growing, I don't know, for eating for feeding cattle, right?
yeah. Mm, okay, then yeah. Here I will stop my argument.
Okay, I think it's finished. We can wrap it
Yeah,
up.
I think it's time to wind up. I think we've come to a conclusion. It was great listening to you guys today.
Yeah,
All
thank
right,
you.
see you in the next session, guys. Thank you.
Uh, bye, Rosha. Bye, Sandeep.